Welcome to the world of Joan. Today I want to talk about the subject of, and it's been brought up in Congress, in Senate, and other areas, of making living off the grid illegal. Many states already has making catching rainwater illegal. There was a gentleman that had over 1 million gallons of rainwater collected, and he got fined for it. He was told he had to get rid of all of it. Now, whatever reason he chose to do this, maybe he chose to save all this because he worries about something happening down the road and people needed water. Everybody has different reasons. I think it's wrong to say we cannot live off the grid. If we choose to have solar power, choose to have wind power, we choose to collect our own rainwater, we choose to raise our own crops, should not be against the law. The thing is, they're not getting the money by us living that way. I see nothing wrong with it if that's the lifestyle you choose to live. That is your choice to live that way. People live comfortable living like that. People do not all live up in the woods, running around in leather clothes all the time, running around not shaved for 5, 10 years, not running around acting crazy, jumping from one tree to another. It's not a Robinson Crusoe thing. It's not the person getting stranded on an island going nuts thing. It's people living comfortable. It's people using things to survive on. They just do not want to keep living off the other. A lot of people want to take care of the land. They want to live off the land. They want to live better for themselves. They want to live healthier for themselves. They want to raise their own food. There is nothing wrong with it. Now, I catch rain in a 5-gallon bucket to use for my plants and stuff. So there's not really a big issue on it. But if somebody wanted to fuss about it and call zoning or whatever saying I'm saving rainwater, they can raise their fit over it. But there's so many people, more people out there every day is getting a little rain barrel to collect rainwater for their plants. And I use it for my animals also. And I've told people, if you're concerned about your animals, you can filter it out. Get you a filter, throw some coffee filters in there, some newspapers in there, paper towels. Filter the water through it to catch whatever particle you're worried about. But it's better for the animals. So living off the grid should not be illegal. I don't think it's right. You got them up there saying they want us to be at least 20% more self-efficient, have more solar energy, more of this and more of that. But at the same time, they're saying it's against the law to live like that. It's against the law to do this. A woman in Florida got in trouble for it because she was living off the grid because she was in code violation and they told her she had to get out of her house. BS. This woman was living just fine. Then they had a backstepper when there was a big to-do issue and said, well, we'll consider this and she got to prove to us that she's doing just fine. She chose to live like that. She was not hurting the environment. What she was hurting was them. She was hurting them because they weren't getting money for electricity. They weren't getting money for the water and sewage. They weren't getting money for a lot of things that they want to get. So she chose to live this way by having solar panels on her roof, by collecting her own water, by doing everything herself. And she was happy and contented living like that. I mean, she was having TV and stuff. What's wrong with that? Living off the grid should not be legal. Another thing is, if any of y'all watch the Doomsday Preppers and shows like that, you can learn a lot off it, but what it makes us look crazy. Some of them out there is showing things they should not be talking about. How to make bombs and throw them. How to be a martyr and go and rob everybody. These people have been arrested. The guy in Tennessee who was saving stuff, and he had a YouTube site and prepping, he wound up with a letter saying he was mentally incompetent. The government stepped in and did something and interfered in it. Another guy who was going on about how he was going to rob from everybody, and the neighbors had no idea he was like that, had a felony record. So they went and arrested him. This other gentleman who was living off the land was making pipe bombs. They're illegal. Why go on TV and talk about all this and showing people for your 15 minutes of fame? Living off the land does not mean all of us out there are thinking crazy stuff. People who are living off the grid are just tired of everything. They're tired of the cost of the electricity. They're tired of the cost of the water. They're tired of all the products being put into the foods. It should not be illegal to collect rainwater. It should not be illegal to use solar power and wind power. It should not be legal to live off the land if that's what we want to do. So if you choose to live partly off the grid, or you choose to live off the grid altogether, don't go on TV and talk about it. That 15 minutes of fame is going to cause you more problems than work. One family dug a bomb shelter, whatever you want to call it, in their garage secretly without permit. They customly designed it. They did all this without the neighbors knowing it. But their 15 minutes of fame is on TV showing they built this and showing them going to the woods at night in the city, hiding their little dash. It made them look crazy. So now all the neighbors knows about that. The zoning knows about it. The city knows about it. I guarantee they wind up having to pay for something. And then another gentleman was talking about his bug out shelter. His bug out shelter was in the basement of his workshop. Okay, now you're telling everybody in the world that it's there. But he says if any of his family and them is not willing to contribute and put food and everything in, they're not allowed in. But you know what? They're going to show up at that door. And a lot of them don't talk to him. They're mad at him because he says you're not coming in if you're not going to put food in this, if you're not going to practice this. But they're going to show up at that door, and they're going to expect you to let them in. And a side of them is going to come out. People get crazy when they're afraid. Your best friend from childhood, who you would thought would never do anything, could be the one come into your house and steal all your food. Your son, your daughters, you don't know. Neighbors will come in and rob you that would have never done it before because they themselves have families to take care of. So if it meant your family surviving or their family surviving, they're going to choose their family. So don't make it known that you are living off the grid. Don't make it known on TV that you have all this backup foods hid and all this backup water hid, because these people are going to come looking for you. And the governments in the cities and the towns and the states and all this stuff who's trying to make everything illegal is going to be there finding you and telling you you got to get rid of all this stuff. So living off the grid should not be a crime. It states in the Declaration of Independence, it said we're supposed to have freedom. We're supposed to have equal rights. But these people out here, they have more rights on these other things than preppers do. So don't tell the world. Don't go on TV. People think we're crazy enough as it is. When I say I keep extra jugs of water on hand, some of them think I'm crazy. If I talk about keeping extra food on hand, they think I'm crazy. If I talk about making my own stuff, they think I'm crazy. I'm not. I'm just a basic down-to-earth person who wants to get back to nature, who wants to reteach myself the things I was taught as a child growing up, and take better care of myself. I don't own a gun. Have no need for a gun. Not that I can't shoot a gun, but I don't own one. Push to shove, I will do what it takes to survive. So living off the grid should not be illegal. We should have same rights as anybody else. We should have equal rights to be able to live off the grid. So from the world of Joan, be safe, be happy. Bless you all.